Imagine a world where everybody is connected. Imagine a world where somebody in Japan can do a transaction with somebody in the United States without high banking fees. Imagine a world no longer ruled by greedy corporate banks. There's going to become a time when we think of central banks in the same way we think about calling an operator to talk to a friend on the phone. This weird, annoying entity that came between us and the things we actually wanted. You aren't going to drown in fees anymore. You aren't going to borrow money from a bank. You aren't going to fight a half a dozen middlemen. It'll just be you and your money anywhere on earth. And once this happens, cryptocurrency could very well make the US dollar obsolete. Once people understand how easy this is and get used to it, the demand for legacy money controlled by a government and bank is going to plummet like a rock. Welcome to the world of cryptocurrency. All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to a special late night crypto talk. This is Bitcoin Brandon from Los Angeles, California. This is my first public broadcast in quite a while. I've been out and sick for the past week and lost my voice. So tonight I'm doing a special late night crypto talk, but also I'm doing it not only for my Ivy League Crypto Academy, but I'm doing it for public, for all my places. We're streaming live on YouTube, Twitter, multiple Facebook accounts, my Facebook page, and the Ivy League Crypto Academy. So there's a reason why I'm doing this, because I've got a special announcement to make at the end. So you definitely want to stick around for some major updates that we have coming on. But we're living in some extraordinary times. When I did Crypto Talk this morning, I was looking at my YouTube channel and going back. My first Crypto Talk I did was September 2017. And I was just looking at the topics of those timelines. And even back then, I was talking about what could possibly happen and what's going on right now. I've got the news on as well, so I can see multiple news sources. I'm looking at Al Jazeera, Fox, MSN, and CNN at the same time, seeing all their headlines. What's going on in the world of the Russia, Ukraine, and also crypto, how all of this ties in, blockchain technology, all this ties in. So before we go ahead and get started, I want to recognize those of you guys. So go ahead and type in the chat box where you're listening in from. And as a disclaimer, I am not a licensed financial advisor to be giving financial advice. I read the news, give my opinion, share suggestion, and it is up to you to make an informed, intelligent decision on which direction that you want to move into. So I see first up is Justice from Florida. Welcome, Justice. Herschel Crow, a man from Texas. Facebook user from Colorado. I'm not sure who that is. It says Facebook user. Neil Brooks, Richmond, Virginia. Deborah from Colorado. Karen from Washington, D.C. Janelle from Colorado. So that first Colorado, that must be Marnita. So I don't know why you're showing up as a Facebook user here. Van Hairston from New Jersey. Paulette from Southeastern Oregon. Cy Smith. What's going on, Cy? Miguel from Somerset, Kentucky. There she is. There's Marnita. Jacqueline from ATL. Marisol from Texas. Good evening. Elijah from Hercules. Marisol is in, or you just put Fallon Aguilar. Okay. Bill, Jersey Shore. Kenny from Los Angeles, my backyard. Anastasia Roberts from Waco, Texas. Faye Harris from Temecula. Suriname. It just says Facebook user, but Suriname. Patricia Elect Lady. Good evening. See, Tony Pinkston from Philly. Teresa Carlson from Washington State. Wendy Baird from Northern California. Kevin from Georgia. Patricia's in the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area. I will be in Dallas in May 13th. We'll come into Dallas. Sasha from Philly. Margot, a.k.a. Sasha. Hey, Sasha, I did what you said. My voice is rested. I chilled out this afternoon. Someone said I shouldn't have been speaking tonight, but I had to. I got hyped up on the TV show earlier today. And I wasn't able to finish the article, but I definitely wanted to finish it for a late night crypto talk tonight. I was on this morning, Sai. I'm doing all of my crypto talks is in my company, Ivy League Crypto Academy. So if you want to be a part of my crypto talks, Monday through Friday is going to be just Ivy League Crypto Academy. Just register on ilcachallenge.com. You're going to get an email with an invite to our special Facebook group, and there you will see all of my crypto talks as being live streamed, and you can watch the recordings and my late night crypto talks that I do. I will be doing Saturday crypto talks for open for everybody, Saturday mornings. 1 day a week open for everybody, but the rest is just for the Ivy League Crypto Academy. There's a lot of information and value that we're sharing in this crypto talk. In fact, I love your feedback at the end of tonight's crypto talk. Let me know if you learned anything new or if you got any value from this. This is what we're doing right now with Ivy League Crypto Academy is 5 years in the making to get to where we are right now. And that's why I have a special announcement at the end. I had a good long talk with my CMO today, and we were trying to figure out with the new stuff that we have coming, the new courses, the first couple of months of Ivy League Crypto Academy has been us just testing the system, testing the marketing, the autoresponders, the messages, the flow, how much time we're spending, where our energy needs to be put, what works, what doesn't work, what you guys are getting. The site, the VIP group. No. This is anybody. Anybody. You don't have to be a VIP to be in the Facebook group. All you have to do is register for the 5-day challenge. And the next 5-day challenge is coming up on March 21st. It'll be our third one. So our third one, this is our last final test before we start rolling out the marketing. I have not done any marketing, no email campaigns, no texting or any. We've done no advertising budget, period. Everything we've done so far has been word of mouth and me sharing through Crypto Talk. And so we're about to kick it up to another level, but we wanted to make sure we've got all any issues that may pop up ironed out before we really begin the marketing. So I have a big announcement to make at the end of this Crypto Talk tonight. So let me go ahead and share screen so that we can take a look at first what's going on in the crypto market as of right now. Latest news. Let's refresh this. And let me know, guys, if I'm not sharing screen or anything. Sometimes I forget. I got 2 screens up, so I see on the other screen we're good to go. And my voice should be good. It was coming in and out on me earlier. We should be good. All right. Market cap is at 1.8 trillion. It is now up 3% the last 24 hours. Now, this morning, this was at 6% last 24 hours. 6%. So we've dropped within the last couple of hours. And I don't see any major news outside of Russia destroys children's hospital, maternity ward, but nothing else major. Oh, they did talk about Putin might want to be using chemical weapons to spook the market right now. I'm not sure if any of that news spooked the market where we had a drop, but Bitcoin was at 2,000. So it's down to 40,800. Down, it's up 3.5% last 24 hours. Ethereum is up 1.7. The last hour, we're looking at a flat line. No major movement. 24 hours is still net positive. We bought tokens this morning as well. That's another thing. If you're part of our crypto talk, and I'll share this. I'll show you guys it. We created a secondary portfolio from scratch. There's a lot of people out there that are preaching and talking about crypto, but not too many people that actually show what they're doing live. And I wanted to do that. So we created an account with crypto.com. And again, as a disclaimer, I don't give you advice on what you should do. But what I do is research live and add to my crypto portfolio in front of you guys with a game plan. So, what is my rule number 4 when it comes to crypto education? Where do you see yourself in 3 months, 6 months, a year from now? What are you willing to do to make that happen? Make a decision, find a vehicle, take focus, take action. So, this is a specific strategy in this portfolio. This portfolio, we were at 0. We're now at, as of today, 11,200. Let's double check this. So far, I bought another $400 worth of crypto this morning. The goal of this account is we want to have it up to $100,000 by the summer. So I'm doing it live in front of all of you. That's the goal, $100,000 by the summertime. And then we're just accumulating. I'm not selling anything in here. I'm not playing day trader. I'm not playing volatility, swing trades, micro. This is a macro account I'm building here because we started a series about how $100, $1,000, and $10,000 can change your life. Can change your life. So when we get this to 100,000, then we're going to sit on it for a year and see just from the appreciation, the value of crypto going up, we can get this to $1 million account. So then I will be on record to show how you go from 0 to $1 million in crypto publicly. I want to show that on record. I've already done that privately, but I want to show it on record publicly, how to go from 0 to $1 million. And all of my crypto talks is documenting this entire process. But the goal of this, I think we're up to 28 tokens in this wallet. And the goal is to have at least 10 of them. This is a short-term goal. 10 of them to be over $1,000 each. 5 of them to be over $5,000 each. And then 2 of them over $10,000 each. And then I'm going to do a readjustment and then increase that to 25,000 and then 50,000. Now, this morning, only 2 was over 1,000. You guys remember that. So I purchased more tokens to get 2 more back over 1,000, but the market dropped since then. So now we're still only with 2 tokens over 1,000. But combined, this is $11,000 wallet. And the goal is made by my birthday. My birthday is July 13th, $100,000. So we've got $89,000 more dollars to go with this. And I'm confident we can make that happen. So that is what you're getting in my crypto talks. We find different news sources. We find different opportunities within the crypto space where it might be a good idea to purchase this certain coin. It might not be a good idea to add to this coin at this time. When you're dealing with limited resources, you need to use your education to determine where you're going to put those resources. You can't put them in everything. I was debating on having a strategy with just 5 to 10 tokens and spreading the resources just between those. But instead, I've increased this to 25, and a couple of good ones just keep popping up that I add to. Now, if this goes back to the numbers we were in back in, I don't know, maybe January, this should be up to probably 15, 16K by default. This pops back up there. So we're going to see a nice bump in this when the market flips back around again. I don't think that's going to happen until after tax season, tax day. I believe we'll still be in a bearish market until tax. Okay, so showing that, we see where the market is right now. Let's get into what's going on in the world. We covered this morning. Analysts warn of regulatory risks if Russia is able to use crypto to evade sanctions. How many of you, let me ask it this way. If you are a little bit confused about this whole Russia, Ukraine, and how blockchain ties into it, I don't want you to feel embarrassed to say that. If you understand, it's okay. If you're a little bit confused and would like me to give a short, brief breakdown of this, type me in the chat box. if you're just a little bit confused on what's happening and why we should pay attention, why this should matter to us, um, type me in the chat box. Karen says, I'm confused. Anybody else? If you're a little bit confused by this, why this matters, why when we go to the gas station right now, they're talking about signing over your arm and a leg. You know, what's going on here? What's the reason? I think that Vladimir Putin miscalculated, and he miscalculated big. And I don't, because of his miscalculation, I think that the world is coming, a world of pain is coming soon. So I gotta look at the time we've got so I can break this down like I said, in a way that my mom can understand. Oh, by the way, I talked to my mom today, so we confirmed sometime next week. I'll know this weekend exactly what day, but I will be doing an interview with my mom on early morning crypto talk. She says she's not turning the camera on at nighttime. She says she'll do it in the morning. So I'll be doing an early morning crypto talk with my mom sometime next week. And she said, how long? What, 1 minute? I said, no, mom, at least 10 minutes, mom. So we're going to have her for about 10 minutes so I can introduce her to you guys. And she's been my inspiration on how I do my crypto the way I do it. So here's the bottom breakdown in layman's terms very quickly, so I don't have to do the entire history lesson again. In 2016, when I started to pay attention to crypto, I read a report from Vladimir Putin, and he made a quote. He did a quote, and he stated that the Stone Age did not end due to the lack of stones. Look around. There are still stones on the ground. The Stone Age ended due to the introduction of better technology. And whatever nation adopts this new technology is going to become the world's superpower. And the nations that do not will live underneath the nations that do. Now, that caught my attention. Why? Why did that catch my attention? I'm a political science major. I study this stuff. I love this stuff. But it caught my attention because if you ever do a deep dive on Vladimir Putin, his past, he is a Soviet era guy, former KGB era dude. He is what you, if you consider American patriots, he is a Russian patriot. He's just not a Russian. He is a true believer. What motivates a man who's probably in the top 5 richest human beings on the planet when you don't need to wake up in the morning and do what you do? You know, he's got like $1 billion house on a lakefront somewhere that's humongous. He doesn't need, what motivates that type of guy? It's his narcissism, egotism, and he's a true believer of his cause. Those 3 things cannot be negotiated with. They cannot be shaken. You can't convince them. They have a certain view of the world, and they will use everything in their power to make the world in their image that they want it to be. So if you put yourself in his shoes, he is obsessed with the manifest destination of the Russian Federation of glory, the great Soviet Union. He feels emancipated. I don't want to use that word. Emasculated is the word I want to use. Embarrassed by the collapse of the Soviet Union without firing a single shot. Imagine almost being indoctrinated from birth about the greatness of the Soviet Union and its place in the world after World War II, and that the number one enemy to your great power and rise is the United States. And that's all you've known your entire life. And then even as a young adult, that's all you've been indoctrinated with your entire time in the KGB, to work against the West for the glory of the Russian Federation, the Soviet Union, only to see it collapse. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. You've amassed this nuclear arsenal, this humongous army and military, and never got a chance to use it. You know, those of you that are gun lovers, I don't want to use that one. That's going to get me in trouble. Just imagine amassing a whole bunch of money and never getting a chance to spend a dime of it. Right? That feeling. Okay, so if you know that about him, you can project anything he does, any decision he makes is towards that goal of the United Russian Federation, a world superpower, bigger and greater and badder than the United States. The United States is a constant reminder of him, of their downfall. You know, another man who had the same idea was Adolf Hitler. Hitler thought the same way because he fought in World War I. Didn't like what happened to Germany after World War I and the way it was heading, and why he created Germany going into World War II. The difference is Hitler was at first loved by his people. He was loved by the people. Putin, not so much. He's not loved by his people. Putin is straight off of fear and intimidation. There is another man who falls more into that line, which I'm not going to get into tonight. You guys can figure it out on your own. But the danger in having this type of mentality and mindset of, I am right, everybody else is wrong. I will never admit to defeat. I will never admit if I'm wrong. I don't care what happens to anybody else as long as it is in my best interest. I will call the news fake news. I will shut down all news in my country. I will arrest anybody protesting against anything that I want to do. There are thousands of Russian citizens in jail right now, not allowed to protest. Facebook, I don't know if Twitter was shut down, but all outside media sources have been shut down in Russia. This is why one of the things that has allowed the United States to be so strong is the freedom of the press. Freedom of the press. Until recently, it has never really been challenged, because as Americans, we no longer accept who's giving us the news and if the news is even real. We have been more polarized, and I'm going to be very good tonight and not go down that rabbit hole, because some of you guys, you know what I mean. As long as my side is winning, I don't care what happens, is what a lot of people have. And that is not the American way. That's not the American way. We even had a subgroup of people that was cheering for Vladimir Putin until they realized he's out there shooting civilians and bombing kids indiscriminately in front of everybody. You can't fake that. So America is polarized, but we still have barriers in place that has prevented us from going over the ledge. We've walked up to it, but that's not so in Russia. And this leader over there has been on a mission for the Russian Federation. So how does this tie into the blockchain technology? Well, there are two things that the United States has had that has kept us on top since World War II. And that's the biggest, baddest military the world has ever seen. I'm sorry, nobody can touch us. Our defense budget is more than the rest of the world's combined. Nobody can touch us. The second thing that we have at our disposal is the US petrodollar, meaning that the world reserve currency is the dollar. Do you know why the world's reserve currency is the dollar? It's not the oldest currency in the world. The British pound is. But if you know your history, after World War II, you have to understand the world endured 2 world wars in 25 years. Millions and millions and millions of people dead, generations lost. There's a segment I watched a documentary a while back about Eastern Europe, the lost generations, the lost years between World War I generation, World War II from Eastern Germany and the Russians. But World War II smashed a lot of the world economies. China, Japan, North Africa, all of Europe, Middle East, Western Russia, Eastern Europe, smashed. But do you know whose economy was not? America. Pearl Harbor was bombed, and that was it. Our mainland was left untouched, unscratched. And we came out of the war with all these factories already in production, ready to keep going, that the women were working in while the men were all fighting the war. The men came home. That's what they call the greatest generation, my grandparents' generation, the GI Bill. And our economy exploded. We were still on the gold standard at that time. Now, the rest of the world needed help to rebuild. But to rebuild, you've got to have assets. I mean, if your currency is worthless, how are you going to rebuild? So you got to use a currency that's not worthless and that everybody will respect, and that was the US dollar. And it's been that way for the last 80 plus years. It's been that way. So the United States has used and wielded that power. So instead of being like Great Britain and colonize every single nation, we did it differently. We said we want to spread democracy. So instead of colonization, we would input leaders or dictators. It didn't matter to us as long as they did what was in United States' best interest. We backed them up with money, weapons, sometimes coups, assassinations, whatever. But that's what we did. It has come back to bite us in the ass a couple of times. I think one of the biggest ones is Iran. 1979, the Iranian Revolution, where the people overthrew the Shah, who was backed by the United States. But he was a brutal dictator on his people. So while Americans are still scared of the word Muslim, they don't understand that we actually created the same terrorists who have been fighting us for the past 2 decades. What? What, Brandon? How can you say that? Know your freaking history. We created them. Afghanistan? Who do you think was supporting the Taliban when Russia invaded Afghanistan? The United States. Who do you think was supporting the dictator in Iran that was brutalizing his people for 10 years, which caused them to have an Iranian revolution? The United States. Who do you think was supporting Saddam Hussein before we all knew him in the 90s because he was going to war with Iran against the Muslim revolution? The United States supported and armed Saddam Hussein. Where do you think Oliver North and the Iran-Contra affair came from? If you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it out of ignorance. It's okay to acknowledge faults that we have made, as long as we're moving always to become better. We can't be afraid of our history. And repeating our history does not make you anti-American. Okay, let me not go down that road. But this is all leading up to one of the most scariest times I've ever felt in my life, which is right now. leading back to Putin. Putin knows that he can't match our military. So he's been playing a game of chess for the past decade to try to match and get rid of our second source, which is our US petrodollar. The United States is in so much debt, it ain't even funny. How are we even able to stand on our own 2 feet? Because we're the world's reserve currency and other nations will purchase our debt. Russia was one of them. China was the biggest purchaser of United States debt. But then something odd started to happen in 2015. Russia and China started to sell US debt and stockpile gold. They started to invest in this thing called blockchain technology, which had people stumped because cryptocurrency means. Let me stop sharing screen so you can actually see me. I'm going into it right now. Cryptocurrency means anonymity, crypto, not controlled by a bank, a business, a government, a CEO. Open source, power to the people. Hold up, though. How can Russia and China be all about this crypto thing, power to the people, when they're a communist nation? Where power is not in the hands of the people, power is in the hands of the state. Communism. Another thing I find fascinating in America is that Americans going through our educational system don't even know the difference between socialism, capitalism, communism. They're not the same thing. Socialism is not communism. They don't know the difference. But how can a communist nation be backing something that's trying to give power to the people? They weren't. See, if you've gone through the 5-day challenge, or actually if you upgraded to becoming a founding member, you got the courses, we covered the difference between blockchain technology and Bitcoin and crypto. They're not the same thing. So let me break this in a way that, like I said, my mom can understand. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, those are entities on the internet. They cannot survive without the internet. But the internet can survive without Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, they cannot survive without the blockchain. But the blockchain can survive without those. They're just on top of the railing of blockchain. So Russia and China, like Putin said in 2016, like the technology, but they don't like the crypto side of it. So they have been doing this, developing the technology to adopt in their nations for a cashless society. Because if you don't realize this, cashless society can actually put more control in the government's hands. If you go to the bank right now and take out a whole bunch of cash, you can actually bury it in the ground. Can the bank seize that? No, unless they know where you buried it. But if you have a complete cashless society where all of your money is in the bank, the government can seize your account. They can freeze it. They can garnish your wages. There's nothing you can do about it because there's no physical cash. United States has already been looking into this since 2014. This isn't anything new from the governments. You're just now hearing about it. So China and Russia, they found a way to say, hey, this technology is the greatest technology and invention mankind has ever had. This may be our way out from underneath United States and the US dollar control. If we can create a currency that is not dependent on the US dollar, that we can trade and use amongst ourselves and be recognized around the world, then the United States no longer has power over us. Because if you don't do what we say, we'll just slap sanctions on you until you bend over. That's what we do. That's how we stay on top. You don't have to be proud of the game. That's just how the game's being played. That's why Americans, we're on top. We'd rather be doing it to others than have it done to us. That's just a fact. But for the first time since World War II, that power is being challenged. And Putin has been preparing for this. So what happens if China, Iran, Russia, North Korea, Pakistan, India, all the nations say, we don't need to use the US dollar anymore. We don't even need the United States anymore. We can trade amongst ourselves and become prosperous, and therefore reclaim our natural, rightful, ancient place back in this world. United States is only 245 years old. They're nothing compared to how long we've been around. This is all in Vladimir Putin's head. He sees a way out. So he's been putting in the plans for this. He ordered his national bank to come up with their first CBDC, which is a central bank digital currency, the digital ruble. China last year, January 2021, already made law that all government positions, all government employees have to know about blockchain technology. It's written in law, and that they're creating the digital yen, the digital yuan, however you pronounce it. At the same time, banning crypto and Bitcoin at the same time. The funny thing is, the United States is doing the same thing that China and Russia is doing, because they're looking to find ways of criminalizing and banning this Bitcoin thing while creating their own CBDC. Get used to the word CBDC. It's going to be a household word soon. Central bank digital currency. And the uneducated masses don't know the difference. Oh, we got our own crypto. At least this one's backed by the government. I trust the government. Those are what people that think cash is king, right? Because it's backed by the government. I'm sorry. Do any of these things say backed by gold on here anymore? Not anymore. It just says, in God we trust. Nope. Toilet paper is worth more than that. So let's fast forward. Now that you kind of know the build up to it. And Putin, if he had in his mind, I need to take over. Well, for me to retain Russian glory, I need to put the Russian Federation back together again. All those pieces, the Baltic states, Moldova, Ukraine. You guys realize how big Ukraine is? It's like the size of Texas. Most people can't find Ukraine on a map. It's like the size of Texas. It's the second biggest country in all of Europe. More than 40 million people there. There's more people in Ukraine than there is in Canada. About the same amount of people in California. Huge. Remember Chernobyl? Where do you think that happened? It was in Ukraine. Ukraine is a very, very important piece of the puzzle, which is why Putin has always had his eye on it. Now, here's what Putin wants. He wants to take all those countries back. Here's where he miscalculated, where he made a fatal mistake. And his fatal mistake has me scared to death. I think he pulled the trigger too soon. There wasn't enough development of his CBDC or whatever Eastern Pan-Asian union between them and China and stuff that they can operate independently of the world. It wasn't ready yet. The crypto space is still less than 3 trillion. It's still developing. I think he's still at least 5 years too soon to pull this trigger, but because of his age and he's getting older, and I don't know who his advisors are. I know he's paranoid as all hell. So he may have a whole bunch of yes people around that will never challenge. You know, when you're in a situation where you haven't heard anybody challenge you for a decade, do you know what that does to your brain? When you have nothing but yes men and enablers around you that It doesn't matter what you say, they will back it up and make it so. No matter how ludicrous it is what you're saying, they will make it so. And you think you're the smartest person on the planet. And you go in that bubble for long enough, you become detached from reality because in your mind, you create the reality. The reality is whatever it is you make it to be because you've already dominated any other alpha near you. So here's his miscalculation. I think he far greater overestimated the military power that Russia has. He's still thinking it's the freaking Soviet Union. And they're only a shell. Russia right now is a shell of what the Soviet Union was. He looked at what the United States has done, and we've been at, I said this earlier today. I'm 45 years old. I celebrate my 46th birthday in July, which will be the nation's 246th birthday. And the United States has been in some form of armed conflict my entire life. My entire life. I went through the history of that earlier. And he looks at, if we go into the 90s, our military rolled into Iraq twice. We rolled over Afghanistan. Nobody can go head to head with the United States. What we are not good at is occupation. We haven't figured that part out. 20 years in Afghanistan. I can't believe it's been 20 years. I remember the first images of our C-130 planes flying over and the parachuters jumping out to invade Afghanistan that first time after 9/11. 20 freaking years. So Putin thought, I'm a superpower just like United States. I'm going to run on over this Ukraine. They're all Russians anyway. They're going to welcome me. Yeah, I'm going to squash out a little bit of the resistance. There is a whole nother piece that I'm avoiding purposely because it gets into politics about the previous administration and Vladimir Putin's goals. I'm not going to touch that. Not publicly. Too many of you will get offended because you don't want to accept the truth. But there's a whole part of that calculation that Putin had in his game of chess that Biden's victory messed some things up. Only thing that I can say, if this was a different administration in power right now, Putin would have a little easier time of doing what he's doing. But he thought he was just going to roll on over Ukraine. And he didn't. And what's embarrassing about that is there are no foreign fighters helping Ukraine on a big scale. United States didn't step in. Germany didn't step in. France in England didn't step in. Poland didn't step in. It's just Ukrainians that is halting him. What are we, day 14 or something right now? 14, 15? He still isn't even in Kiev. Ultimately, he will. You know, it's like trying to stop a avalanche. You just can't stop it. It's just, you might be able to slow it down, but you can't stop it. So if things don't change in a certain way, he will eventually take over all of Ukraine. But if it took him this long to do that, he definitely is not going to be able to hold it and occupy it. He's in for a world of hurt, and that reality is starting to set in. And how do we know that reality is starting to set in? Because he's now using the word nuclear weapons coming out of his mouth. If any nations interfere, then I will consider them as combatants and as a declaration of war. And let me remind you that we are a nuclear superpower. How dare he even utter the word nuclear? Are you freaking crazy? This is where I get scared. I haven't felt this way since the 80s. I haven't felt this way, and I was a kid then. And I remember my dad telling me, you know, you don't nothing to be afraid of, and da da da. You can't be scared of things you can't control. You got to have faith and blah, blah. But I remember going to school and us having the drills. I remember the TV shows and movies about, Red Dawn and things like that, war games. A crazy person accidentally in a submarine. What was that movie with Sean Connery, the submarine commander? That was a great movie. Was Denzel Washington in that too? The Hunt for Red October. It's a great movie. But I remember that era and always thinking that, we're gonna die because of a nuclear war. But for the last 2 or 3 decades, we really haven't had that fear. The only fear we've had is ISIS, Taliban, Saddam Hussein. We haven't had any fear of nuclear until now. I can see it on the news media dusting off their old films. Oh, we gotta start thinking about this. How many nuclear weapons are there actually out there? There are enough nuclear weapons to destroy the world like 30 times over. But all it takes is for one clown to hit the button, and it's game over. And for Putin to say that, knowing we have nukes too, you fool. The moment you hit the button, there will be no more Russia. Russia will be glass. There's 140 something million Russians. They'll all be dead. There's almost 400 million Americans with better weapons and arsenal. We're going to be hurt too. It is a no-win-some game scenario. You do that, you commit suicide. But why am I scared by him saying that? It's because I don't think he cares. I think when you have a wounded dog that's been humiliated with their back against the wall, that's been living in their own egotistical, narcissistic bubble that has nobody telling him what he doesn't want to hear. Because I just watched earlier, one of the generals just said, yeah, we couldn't tell Putin the truth. He doesn't want to hear that our military isn't up to par. We had to lie to him. This is how dictators are born. Again, use your own education. You don't need to watch the news. Use your own freaking common sense when you see the signs in people. Just because they're on your side doesn't mean they're right. Let me not go down that route again. Utterly freaking amazing. But anyways, my fear is that as this gets drawn out, he wasn't prepared to avoid United States sanctions. He tried, wasn't prepared for it. His economy is in free fall, and it already wasn't that great to begin with. They're taking his toys and yachts and mansions. His oligarchs are running around the world trying to play Carmen Sandiego. Where's Waldo? He can't admit defeat, because if he can't beat little old Ukraine, then he's a paper tiger when it comes to trying to fight against NATO. Then the real question comes. What is he going to do next? Is he going to go out like a punk, like he thinks the Soviet Union did? Or will he say, if I'm going to go out, I'm going out firing. I'm going out pressing buttons. I'm already hearing talks today of now dirty bombs and chemical weapons. He's escalating. He's doubling down. We've seen this type of behavior over and over. It's textbook narcissism. Some of you guys know it, will never admit to it. Because again, it aligns with your political leanings. But we're watching it play out live right now. You have people, how did Hitler become a Hitler? How did Mussolini? How did Stalin? How did Putin become Putin? You're watching it live and in color, and it's scary. But as Jim Rohn says, Sometimes you can't control the things that's happening around you. You can't control circumstances. So focus on the things that you do control on. And one of his ultimate goals was building a financial wall around his house so high that nothing can penetrate it. That's what we're doing. And that's what I'm doing by creating an academy and a community of people. Because the more educated we are, the stronger each of us are, not only just individually, but as a community. An educated community is much better than one genius sitting over there spouting out to the wind and nobody's listening. So let's get into the crypto side of this. This was a shot across the bow. The thought that Russia could actually use crypto to evade United States sanctions got the U.S. shook. It's like, whoa, hold up. You mean to tell me you can defy us and get away with it? So what is the Reagan rule? When there's something new on the scene that you didn't create, the first thing you got to do is you got to criminalize it. The second thing you do is you attempt to ban it. None of that works. You try to regulate it and co-opt it by creating your own that you do control. When the inevitable is you can't put the genie back in the bottle. The United States is already doing all four. And it's not just the United States, it's all governments. And so let me share screen again. I didn't realize I was going to go that long, but got into the flow. So look at what happened today. March 9th, 2022. Biden issues long-awaited U.S. executive order on crypto. Now, this is interesting. I've only read half of it. But I'm going to break this thing down real quick so you guys can understand what's real and what isn't. Federal agencies will evaluate their approach in 6 key priorities within the digital asset sector. Here's the takeaway. U.S. President Joe Biden signed a first-of-its-kind executive order. First of its kind. Why did it take so long? Why not 3 or 4 years ago? There's another saying in politics. Never let a good controversy go to waste. Or, I'm sorry, never let a good crisis go to waste. So I said years ago in Crypto Talks that the one way that the world will move into digital and crypto permanently is when there's either a natural disaster, a manufactured one, or a war. I've been saying that for years. If you guys please bear with me, I need about 45 seconds. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm back. Thank you for patience. So, the first of its kind, as I said before, I had to leave for a second. I believe that there was going to be something major in the world. And what happened? COVID. Oh, did COVID magically disappear? I was talking to a friend earlier, and she told me that. Like, nobody's talking about COVID anymore. But COVID, war, economic crisis, gas prices the highest they've ever been. Yeah, this is when the government's got to take drastic action, right? So first of its kind executive order on cryptocurrencies on Wednesday, directing federal agencies to coordinate their approach to the sector. The executive order this is funny here. It does not lay out specific positions The administration wants agencies to adopt or impose new regulations on the sector. Then why did you sign an executive order in the first place? What was the need of it? This is what I call a toothless tiger. This was ceremonial because something had to be done. So it's doing something without doing anything. One part of the order will direct the Treasury Department to create a report on the future of money. Didn't I just do a late night crypto talk about this maybe sometime last year? The future of money, including how the current financial system might not meet consumer needs. You think you're just now figuring that out? The current financial system has not met consumers' needs my entire life. Where did that old American dream go? One person in the household works, and you can still afford a house, 2 cars, white picket fence, and all your kids can go to school and college paid for, and the wife can stay home. Wasn't that the American dream? I've never seen that. U.S. President Joe Biden directed federal agencies to coordinate their efforts at drafting cryptocurrency regulations in a first-of-its-kind executive order on Wednesday. The whole of government effort, slide out of my face. The whole of government effort to regulate the crypto industry focuses on consumer protection, financial stability, illicit uses, leadership in the global financial sector. This is a good one here. Financial inclusion and responsible innovation, according to a fact sheet accompanying the order. Now, so far, I'm all good with this. This is what the industry has been asking for years. See, companies in crypto in the United States said, look, we don't want to be doing anything illegal. Please give us a guideline. Let us know what we can and cannot do, and we will do it. But the governments failed to do that. The executive order, the first such to focus exclusively on the growing digital assets sector, directs federal agencies to better communicate their work in the digital asset sector, but it does not lay out specific positions. Similarly, the order did not announce any new regulations for which cryptocurrencies. So what was the point? You didn't give us any new positions. You weren't specific. And there are new regulations. So why are you signing an executive order? A senior administration official struck a neutral tone on digital assets by telling reporters the growth of the crypto sector could threaten the U.S. financial system. Wait. Okay. If I was the senior administration official, this is what I would say. Brandon Ivey, senior administration official, struck a positive tone on digital assets by telling reporters that the growth of the cryptocurrency sector could greatly improve the U.S. financial system, national security, and business stability. That's what they should be saying. Instead, it's going to threaten us. No, it's not. Once you figure it out, this is a huge blessing. How come you can't figure out what Putin figured out 5 years ago? Without sufficient oversight, criminals can use cryptocurrencies to launder funds or evade sanctions. Really? You don't think they're already doing that right now with the US dollar? But you're worried about, we're talking about more than a $50 trillion global industry, and you're worried about the $3 trillion crypto? At the same time, however, digital assets can also provide now you want to say this. It can provide opportunities for American innovation and competitiveness and promote financial inclusion. You should have led with that. That's the only thing you should be talking about. Innovation is central to America's story and our economy, generating jobs and opportunities, creating and building new industries, and sustaining our global competitive edge and leadership. Wednesday's executive order, which was originally reported to be in the works in October. Okay, first of all, this has been in the works since 2 administrations before. This has been in the works since the Obama administration. The Obama administration. Same thing with the Trump administration. On this aspect, it doesn't matter Republican or Democrat. They're on the same side when it comes to crypto. So don't act like, oh, we just been started talking about this since October. No. This will define 6 key priorities for the administration. Protecting U.S. interests. Okay, I'm cool with that. Protecting global financial stability. Okay, I'm not so cool with that. Unless we're talking about, let me put that in layman's terms. Global financial stability means maintaining U.S. dominance on the world's markets. That's what they mean. Preventing illicit uses. They really don't care about this, but they throw that in there to make it all legal. Oh, we're just trying to, stop criminals. Promoting responsible innovation. Financial inclusion, and here it is. They said it. They actually said it. U.S. leadership. And I ain't mad at it because I'm an American. I'm a patriot. I want U.S. to dominate. I'm sorry. I want the U.S. to dominate. I'm an American. But I believe the U.S. can dominate without putting our boots on the head of other people and torturing them. There is a balance. It's not one or the other. Just because one wins doesn't mean somebody else loses. I'm going to quote 2 people here. Neither is right or wrong, is difference of opinion. In Donald Trump's books, he talks about with the art of the deal that there are winners and there are losers. And you want to make sure that you are always the winner and that you beat your opponent into submission. You're fighting over resources. You want to make sure that you win. That's how he's defined. And then you have Wallace D. Wattles, who wrote The Science of Getting Rich. That says riches is not built on the competitive field. There are enough resources to go around for everybody, where everybody wins. You don't have to take from somebody else for you to have something. You can create from nothing and have something, and somebody else can still have theirs too. You both can have a big house, not one or the other. It's not necessarily when one's right or wrong. It's just how you decide how you want to operate. I choose to operate kind of on both. One, because I'm very competitive, but not in the sense that I'm trying to take from somebody else. I just like being number one. All right? That doesn't mean, it's like, I don't, just because I may not like you doesn't mean I don't want you to succeed. I want you to succeed. I want you to eat. You just can't eat at my table, but you can eat at your table. Others say, I don't even want you to eat. I'm taking all your food. All right, let's keep going here. U.S. leadership. Roughly 40 million Americans, or 16% of the total U.S. population, have reportedly invested in or are trading in cryptocurrencies. The genie is out of the bottle. You can't put this sucker back in. I'm sorry, Staples Center is now called Crypto.com Arena for the next 20 years. No take backs. You can't take it back. Glad you like that one, Lanu. Investor protection. This is BS, but they're going to roll with it. Crypto's volatility was cited as one issue that could harm investors by an administration official. Really? What do you think 2008 did? Where was your investor protection then? We now have the greatest economic recession since the Great Depression on your watch, but you worried about crypto protection. So it could harm investors by an administration official who pointed out that Bitcoin's price at the beginning of COVID-19 pandemic was around 10,300. The price peaked close to 70,000 in November before falling again in the fall of 2021 and the start of 2022. So, what's your point? This is still the best performing asset of the past decade, period. Nothing comes close. Even after it fallen from 70,000, it is still above $30,000 a coin, which is the highest price it's been in 11 years. This is why education is important. If you crypto educated, you can read this and know that this is BS. Bitcoin's price surged more than $3,000, close to 8% on Tuesday after a Treasury Department statement on the executive order was seemingly inadvertently published. Yeah, because I read this. This ain't bad news, actually. It did absolutely nothing. The president has put forward a holistic, whole of government approach. Guys, we got to work together. We got if the FTC could just agree with the SEC and the SEC can agree with the IRS and we come together, we can make things happen. That's what he's trying to do. He says not only macroeconomic risk, but also microeconomic. With the risk to each individual, investor, and business that engages with these assets, the official said. Investor, wait. I've been talking for a while. If you guys still with me, type me in the chat box. I either put you to sleep or you're sitting like this just listening and soaking all the information in. I got to make sure you guys are still here. So type me in the chat box if you're still with me. Okay. The order recognizes. Wait. Investor protection is then a chief goal. Part of this effort will include understanding the technology underpinning digital assets. That is smart. You're behind the eight ball. China's already doing that. Another part will include understanding the weaknesses in the current financial system in which areas do not currently serve all consumers. I have no problem with that. The order recognizes that our assessment of the risks and potential benefits of digital assets must include an understanding of how our financial system does and does not meet the current needs of consumers in a manner that is equitable, inclusive, and efficient, the official said. Consumers might face an antiquated payments infrastructure, which would be slow or unserviceable. The official said this was especially true of cross-border payments. Future of money. Okay, I've already done extensive talk on this. I'm going to see what they say about this. Part of the order directs the U.S. Treasury Department to draft a report on the future of money and payment systems. The interagency report will analyze cryptocurrency's impact on economic and financial growth, financial inclusion, national security, and the extent to which technological innovation may influence that future. I can't wait till that report comes out. That is going to be probably one of the most important documents in modern history for the United States, because depending on how they write this, it can either make or hinder the crypto movement. It's not going to stop it. It could slow it down, and it will let us know how much longer we're going to have to go through growing pains of their own government blocking us, or whether or not they realize the genius of what it is and how the United States can use it to maintain financial dominancy in the world. The one thing about when you're already on top, you don't like change, because in your mind, what we're doing already works. Why do I want to change what's working? I'm already on top. It's your underdogs that's figuring out new ways to get around to be better. That's why it's amazing when you see people like Tom Brady, Joe Montana, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus. You know, if you look at some of the greatest athletes, that even when they're at the top of their game, they're still working harder than everybody else, because they know that they got a big target on their back and their opponents are trying to work up to where they are, so they have to redefine themselves. Jordan, as he went through his career, the 90s Jordan was not the same as 80s Jordan. Completely different playing styles. If you go back and if you were alive and you watched a fan of basketball during those times, how he changed his game to still remain at the peak performance. LeBron James, I am amazed. I don't even like LeBron James, and I'm from LA, but I admire his work ethic and I admire what he does off the court. But the fact that in 19 seasons, he's still the best player in the league. When you have everything in the world, when you've got $500 million in the bank, what's your motivation? To stay on top. So if I was running things in the United States, my 90% of my focus would be how to maintain this dominance by not holding back technology, not trying to hold back innovation, but how to embrace it, integrate it, be the leader of it, and then teach the rest of the world so that we remain on top. That's the smart thing to do. No, criminal activity. Whenever I hear politicians saying that nonsense, it's like I want to smack one of them. Stop listening to your stupid lobbyists that want to keep the old banking system in place. You can have far more money in your pocket if you push through the innovation side. So now I want to see what this report's going to name out. Unfortunately, I have a feeling that most of it is going to talk about CBDCs, government-controlled digital currencies, because they can't promote crypto. They just can't and survive. In a statement originally published and later removed on Tuesday night, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said the report will complement the Treasury Department's existing efforts to analyze the crypto sector. Here's another shocker, guys. The report is already written. They've already done this. All right. Already, the department has worked with the President's Working Group on Financial Markets, the FDIC, and OCC to study one particular kind of digital asset. Ooh, stable coins. Okay, this is the one weakness I have with crypto. My one greatest fear in crypto is Tether, stable coin. You got to follow more of my crypto talks. I explain why in those. Under the executive order, Treasury and interagency partners will build upon the recently published national risk assessments, which identify key illicit financing risks associated with digital assets. Why don't you spend that time and shore up the illicit financing risks you already have in the market? Less than 5% of all crypto transactions have to do with illicit activity. Less than 5%. Bitcoin represents 800 billion, 775 billion market cap. That's nothing. Chase Bank does more than that on a daily basis. All right. Okay, let's go back here. The President's Working Group report, published in November, called on Congress to pass a law more clearly defined federal bank regulators' oversight authority over stablecoins, but said the Financial Stability Oversight Council could take action in lieu of legislation. What's going on, Prelvis? We're just finishing up. You were on the TV show with me earlier, the same article we were covering. Yellen referenced FSOC's role in her statement, saying the Financial Stability Watchdog would look at any potential risks posed by the cryptocurrency sector and assess whether appropriate safeguards already exist. Because the questions raised by digital assets often have important cross-border dimensions, we'll work with our international partners to promote robust standards and a level playing field, she said. Okay. Another senior administration official said the executive order will organize these previous or ongoing efforts, bolstering Treasury's efforts with input for national security economic advisors at the White House. The digital dollar. Dang, I'm not going to be able to finish all this tonight, but I will cover this last part. I'll finish the rest tomorrow morning. The digital dollar. The executive order will also ask agencies to evaluate how the U.S. could issue a central bank digital currency. Again, it is already done. This is all formality, okay? This is a done deal. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So, but he says, should issuance be deemed in the national interest? It is. It's already done. In this, the order ties into the Federal Reserve's ongoing efforts to study digital dollar issuance. Branches of the central bank have published multiple reports in recent months, evaluating both the policy and technological questions that must be answered before a central bank digital currency can be issued. All they're looking now for is the excuse. Okay? That's why I'm looking at this whole war and COVID thing. They're just looking for an excuse. Many of these countries, more than 100 countries are already looking into CBDCs. Did you know that? 100 countries already. The administration official said with use cases encompassing both domestic transactions as well as international usage. Many of these countries are also working together to get standards for CBDC design and cross-border systems. This is why I said Putin pulled the trigger too early. It wasn't ready yet. With implications for domestic and international priorities, including the centrality of the U.S. dollar. That's a key thing that you say, centrality. They want the U.S. dollar to remain the global financial system. The executive order will help make sure we have a leadership role and a seat at the table. Forget the seat at the table. Bring the damn table. That's what I say with people. Oh, Brent, what do you bring to the table? I am the table. What do you mean have a seat at the table? This is the United States of America. We are the table. All right. The official said the U.S., when it held the Group of Seven presidency, established a digital payments experts group to evaluate CBDCs as well as stablecoins and other digital payments issues. Biden's executive order will ask the Fed, as well as any other relevant agencies or departments within the federal government, to look at the possible risk of a CBDC in addition to the possible benefits. If you have never heard of CBDC or that there might be a digital dollar, type me in the chat box. It's okay if you haven't. Most of Americans have not. Type me in the chat box if you've never heard of that. Congratulations, you're learning something new in here. This is coming. Implications to national security, human rights, and financial inclusion are other factors that these agencies will have to consider in answering the questions of whether issuing a CBDC is in the national interest. Only if there is a crisis. The privacy of the dollar remains a key issue. Here's the deal, guys. Here's how every single American is going to accept it. The moment Putin does something crazy again, the whole world market spirals out of control. You run to the bank. You can't pull money out. The banks have chains on their door. You're crying because you can't buy milk and bread and gas because you don't have access to your money. The federal government is going to swoop in to save the day. And they're going to say, you know what? We're not even going to use physical dollars anymore. We're going to input our crypto dollar. They're going to call it that, but it's a digital dollar. And they're going to say, all the money in your bank accounts, we will honor. Do you know that there's more money in bank accounts than there is money floating around physical dollars? So if every single American ran on the bank right now to pull out all the money in your accounts, there's not enough physical cash to go around. This is a problem. They're already violating their own statutes. What do they say to businesses? You know, I started my own business. I do payroll. I have to have enough money in the account at all times that can cover any expenses or whatever I got to pay for. I can't spend that money. It has to sit there. And the federal government makes this a law with most businesses. But then they turn around and they don't even do it themselves. So they're going to say, we're going to save the day. We're going to institute a cashless society. We're going to give you a digital debit card. And, they've already been practicing this. When COVID happened and we did the stimulus checks, and those of you on unemployment, you no longer got like unemployment checks in the mail. You had a card, and the money was just added to your card. It's all ones and zeros on a computer screen. Far more efficient. And the moment that happens, say goodbye to American freedom. Why do I say that? Because then you no longer have control of your money. At any given time, they can take it, freeze your accounts, shut it down. All right. I'm feeling my voice go, so I'm going to have to stop right here. Tomorrow morning's Crypto Talk, I'm going to finish it. But tomorrow morning's Crypto Talk will only be in the Ivy League Crypto Academy. So if you want to be able to get more of that, of this, and my Crypto Talks, all you have to do is register. You see it scrolling at the bottom of the screen, ilcachallenge.com. There's no cost. All you have to do is register, and you'll gain access to all of my Crypto Talks and late night, early morning that I do. Now, ending on that note, a couple of things that's happening. I'm getting back on the road to doing Bitcoin bootcamp events and blockchain events. So I will be in Miami in April for the Bitcoin 2022 event. There's a sale going on right now for this event. So yeah, I will be there on the 7th. And I'm looking forward to this. Learning from all these new people and seeing what's new in the industry. You should always be learning. Always be learning. And I am. I'm never consider myself. I'm an expert. I got it now. I'm always learning something new. So we're going to be at this event. In fact, I got my ticket right here. Ticket already printed out, ready to go. And then now for the important news. I was talking with my CMO about getting ready for the rest of this year, second quarter, and for our Ivy League Crypto Academy, my partnership with Steve Carter and Oliver Carter, with the VIP Global Network, what they have going on, the ability to not only teach cryptocurrency, but allow people to earn money at the same time, and how to put all of that in our umbrella of the Ivy League Crypto Academy and packaging it, the marketing and everything. I've been doing Crypto Talks for free since 2017. Now, if any of you have charted my time is my most valuable asset right now. I charge now $200 an hour for one-on-one consultations, just for 1 hour. Yet whenever I do Crypto Talks, I'm doing Crypto Talks for free for at least an hour every single day. So when I added it up, I think we're doing more than 15, no, maybe now more than 20, 15 to 20 hours a month of free crypto information on a daily. I can't tell you how many people have made so much money from the information that you're getting from the Crypto Talks. In fact, let me ask you guys, if this is your very first time, listen to me tonight on Late Night Crypto, did you get any value in it? Did you learn anything new? Was this information something that you could use when you're developing your own crypto strategy and your own portfolio moving forward? Let me know in the chat box. Give me some feedback. And then we looked around at what others in the industry are doing, and my mind was blown. There's guys out there that I personally know nothing about crypto. They know nothing. And they're charging like $5,000 for a weekend. Or they're charging $1,000 a month just for access for 1 hour a week. 1 hour a week. And people are paying $1,000 a month for that. So all of my Crypto Talks are going to be packaged inside of ILCA. However, come April 1st, it's going to be charged admission to the crypto talks because we're going to be going big time, and I'm now moving it forward to the public, meaning we're going to be doing marketing. Now, the price right now, if anybody is registered with ILCA before April 1st, and when I say registered, I mean you're registered and you're a VIP member. Okay? Anybody that is registered and a VIP member, as the price right now, this is subject to change, will be $19.99 a month. That's it. That's like Netflix. Meaning paying $19.99 a month for more than 20 hours of crypto talks a month with me. Really? When I charge $200 an hour? $19.99 a month. After that, then the price is going to be at least $29.99 for anybody that's new, because we have more things that we're doing and coming, especially for those of you that want to be promoters. Not only that, we're also going to make it commissionable, meaning that if you share with anybody who also plugs into the crypto talk, we're going to give you a piece of that. And you already know right now it's at 10%. So if you invite people to be a part of the crypto talk to learn, and they're paying the $29.99 a month or the $19.99, you're going to earn a commission from that every single month. This is why I call this earning while you're learning. Anybody that has a problem with that, hey, I wish you the best, but my time is no longer free. I can't. We are now moving big time, and we're going to be doing special things like I showed you guys earlier. We're going to make this portfolio into $1 million portfolio. Speaking of Steve Carter, he just sent me some. Yeah, I see. Yes, sir. I saw that. Interesting. Speaking of Steve Carter, he sent me. Let me see if I'll put this image up here. He sent me this image right here. Look at that. Samsung, Toshiba, Nakamichi, Motorola, Satoshi Nakamoto. Interesting. Guess that's a tweet from Elon Musk. I mean, I just saw this. I'm doing a live late night crypto talk right now, and I just mentioned your name because of the VIP global community, global network, and then seeing your text right here, I had to show that off. Satoshi Nakamoto. All right. So we've got some good things coming, and many ways for you guys to be able to make some money, and also for me to also recognize my value and what we have so that I can continue to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm drawing down all the other things where all of my time will be focused with Ivy League Crypto Academy. So the more time I have to focus on this, the more content I can create for our community and grow. So to be grandfathered in, you've got to be a VIP before the end of this month. And what is the VIP? First, you got to register for the Ivy League Crypto Academy. VIP is one time $97. And you now have a lifetime pass in VIP. VIP also, yeah, I got that as a ticker. VIP also gets you backstage access to the 5-day challenges we do. And the next 5-day challenge is going to be March 21st. March 21st is where we're starting it all over again. So with that, I hope you guys have learned something new. Sometime next week, I'll be interviewing my mom. Thank you for those who have been listening for all this time. And I am looking forward to the new community of members that we're about to have the influx of new people that have never heard of crypto, never heard of Bitcoin, Brandon, and all this stuff like you guys have. You guys get the founding side of things. So with that, enjoy the rest of your evening. I will be back tomorrow morning for early morning crypto talk. And see you then. Bitcoin Brandon out. Bye-bye.